Hi there, everybody, and happy snow day. I drove all the way to campus to teach my afternoon class, got in the parking garage, and the notice was that TU was also closed this afternoon. So I'm back home again and just wanted to do a short video. I know it really can't take the place of our first class, but I wanted to walk you through a few things that will help with the pacing of our class. We'll deal with questions and everything, all that good stuff next week. You might notice I put some colored bars on the schedule. Those are when we will have online classes. I just didn't specifically note it as such. Okay, so first of all, one of our books is this book, Word Journey, 2nd edition by Kathy Gansky. You will be using this in I believe it's 665, don't quote me on that, but 626 and 726 as well. So it's a book that I think you will enjoy using in the READ program, and certainly it has so many valuable components for you as a classroom teacher and as a specialist. So this is an important book for you. We will be using this in the first part of the class. Now the QRI book, and I think that's a little more expensive, we won't be using until the second part of the class. So you might want to just take that into consideration when you're planning your finances. Now, I know the bookstore has it, but you might be able to find it cheaper elsewhere. So, that's always a good thing to do. So a couple of things, just because we aren't having class tonight, obviously, I did post the pre-assessment up on our Blackboard site. I think it's, let me just take a look-see here. It's under content. It's the very last one down there, and it says, please complete before you do any readings. So this is what I want you to first do. I would love to have it before Friday, and I really do want you to complete this before you do any readings. This is just to help me know what I need to emphasize in the class, what I can maybe just skim over. These are all important components that you will be seeing again in the READ program. So I want to be sure we're all on the same page with these. Now, this isn't for a grade, obviously. It's just to help me. So you can print it out as I've done here and just handwrite things. You can take a picture with your phone and upload those pictures. You can scan it, or if you want to type, that's fine. 1 or 2 answers is great. You don't have to write complete sentences. It's just, hopefully this will be really easy peasy, really quick for you to do. But again, it's a great guide for me, and I appreciate you doing this before Friday so I can get a better handle on what we need to do. And please do this before you do any readings for the class, because I want this to be, really what you came into the class knowing. Before the first reading happened, I would have given this to you in the first 10 minutes of class tonight. So this week we do have a McKenna and Stahl reading. It's kind of dense. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. If you read Kusser, then you know what I'm talking about. But I did print out a little reading guide. Now, you do not need to hand this in. You don't even need to write on it if you don't want. But these are just the things that I think you need to kind of take away from the reading. In the last part, there's a lot of vocabulary like content validity. I don't really expect you to memorize that. You don't need to have that at your fingertips. You do just need to know where to find the definition should you need it. These are the things I really want you to know from that reading of McKenna and Stahl. So if you would do this after you do the pre-assessment, okay? And then finally, I do want you don't have to worry about the Emergent Literacy Project. I'm going to talk about that next week. We're going to discuss that. No problems. Just kind of ignore that right now. The one project that, because we do have 4 main projects in the class, and one of those is the School Literacy Assessment Survey Part 1. Now, those directions are posted up on Blackboard under content, and I would like you to read through it. And in the first direction says you are to interview several school staff members, and that includes 2 classroom teachers, and you'll see specifics about that, the reading specialist, literacy coach, or other faculty member that works with the school literacy program. Now, if you don't have anybody at your school like that, maybe the speech person, something like that. And then the special educator, school psychologist, or even somebody who works with any special needs students at your school. So you're going to interview at least 4 people. Now, the key to this is understanding that you're going to need to bring those 4 people back together again at the end of the semester and do a focus group with them. But right now, these are individual one-on-one interviews with each of the 4 people. And so it talks about some of the questions and the focus of your interview. You want to get them to define and describe the formal and informal literacy assessments they use with their students. Now, don't get too bogged down with, what is a formal and what is an informal literacy assessment. Just take whatever description they give you, because we want a picture of what people at your school are thinking. And then you want to talk to them about the value they see of each of those assessments. And then talk with them about the impact of all of these testing trends we have in the country, and talk with them about what impact those trends may have had on their literacy practices day to day with students. And ask them about any staff development that has recently been held. And so if you could start thinking about that before next week, that would be great. You might want to get a head start on those interviews. Super duper. Don't worry yet about the formal literacy assessment analysis. I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. But I would have tonight been encouraging you to start those interviews with people at your school. Now, you don't need to start writing this up yet, but make sure as you take notes that you understand what you need to include in your report. You need to name the teachers interviewed, and you need to be able to talk about their view of those assessments. You're going to list those assessments. You need to be able to describe each assessment, like publisher, date it was published. You want to know whether that assessment is mandated by your school or school system. Is it school-based? Is it classroom-based? Is it even grade level based? Sometimes that happens too. You want to take a look at whether it's norm referenced or criterion referenced, performance-based. So again, that McKenna and Stahl is going to define those terms for you. But one more time, Kathy's going to remind you, don't read that McKenna and Stahl article till after you did the pre-assessment. Thank you very much. So you're going to describe each one of those assessments, and you might even want to describe some informal assessments that classroom teachers or reading specialists might use. And then you want to have a paragraph for each teacher that you interviewed. You want to be able to describe their perspectives on their assessments. You want to have a paragraph describing their perspectives on the impact of assessment policies on their instruction and any staff development experiences. So those are the interviews, and again, just a word of caution, because I've read these papers before. I think if you conduct the interviews with the forethought of what you're going to be writing in the paper, what you need to write in the paper, then you don't get off on tangents in the interview and have it take so much longer than it really needs to take. I think this could be done in, let's just say 10 minutes with each person, maybe less, if you keep it really focused on what you need to report. So feel free to email me with questions. You can call me. My number's on the syllabus. And feel free to text too. So I do look forward to seeing you next week. We've been meeting by video way too many times. So have a great snow day and stay warm.